Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of What Does It Take to Get the Right Shot? My name is Simone. I'm a professional sport and nature and landscape photographer, and today I'm going to talk about the tripod and the monopod. When should I use it and what it is? Well, let's start from the last question. What is the tripod? That's how a tripod looks like. And the most common question is, okay, what do I do with this? How does it work? Well, first of all, let's start to talk about when do I need a tripod? I do need a tripod when I take pictures with long exposure. Why? Because if I keep my shutter open in the camera, I cannot move. If I move my camera, the picture will look blurry and not in focus. So the tripod is very, very useful because I can put my camera on the top of it and the camera won't move. So one of the most common questions is, what kind of tripod should I buy? Now, as you see, I have a huge tripod here, which it costed me probably more than $400, and it's very heavy, like 4 or 5 pounds at least. Do we really need something that big, that heavy, and that expensive? Well, it depends what kind of photography we want to do and where are we going. Let me give you this sample and let me put the baby back down so I can explain you a little bit better. How the tripod works, well, let me get it back actually and let me explain you how it works. Once I open my legs as long as I want, which means I can go as tall as I want. Of course, it depends how tall the tripod can go. I do have what in photography it's called head. In this head, which is even more expensive than the whole tripod itself, you can calibrate if you want a vertical shot, horizontal shot, a side shot. You can rotate it, flip it up and down, right and left, and you can see that you can really play around. Now, this one, it's the top of the head. This is something that you roll at the bottom of your camera. And once this is attached at the bottom of your camera, you will put it right here. Here we go. Now it's fixed. It's not moving anymore. So now I have my camera on the top of the tripod. I'm going to open the tripod and I start to measure what kind of picture I want to take. Do I want an horizontal or vertical picture? Consider that this is my camera, so vertical shot, horizontal shot. And then, is it there where I want to focus, or maybe it's there? And I can rotate a little bit. Now, of course, I can also move the tripod, but sometimes we are might tied in a spot that we cannot move, so we can rotate the camera instead of moving physically the tripod. Now, I do have another tripod right here, and that is the difference between a $20 tripod and a $400 tripod. Technically, they work exactly on the same way. You open your legs, you go as tall as you can or as you want if it allows you to, and you can rotate vertical, horizontal, and you can rotate this one and go aside instead of the other side. Now, as you can see, the difference is huge. Not about just the size, I'm talking about the material. Now, let me give you this sample. I close this one. This is it. It goes almost even in my pocket. It's pretty much less than a pound. It can go anywhere. Backpack, doesn't bother at all. It can go in my suitcase and ship it if I'm traveling, and it doesn't get any space and have any weight. If I get this one, I said that it's at least 4 or 5 pounds. And it doesn't fit in my backpack, so I have to take the head off. Taking the head off, I have 2 pieces and they are both very heavy. But let me tell you this, which one should I buy? Now, as I suggested in any other video that you can see on the bottom here, I always suggest when you start your photography career, go cheap, because you need to know how to use it and you need to understand, am I gonna really using it? How much am I gonna use it? We said that the tripod is for long exposure pictures. Long exposure pictures is like 2, 3, 5% of your entire photography career. During the day, you have the light, your shutter speed doesn't need to stay open for that long, your shutter doesn't work that long, so you don't really need a tripod. So the tripod is only during the night, during a sunrise or a sunset, when you want to create specific dynamic pictures and you need a flat surface to stick the camera so the camera doesn't move for those 10, 20 seconds. Now this one can be enough, but yes, it's $20. And we all know that when we go cheap, we cannot pretend that much. We cannot expect that much. But also, let's not talk about the cheap, let's talk about the material. If it's windy, this one with these little tiny legs, it's gonna move. Every time you touch the camera, you're gonna move everything. This is way more stable. Look at the legs, how big they are, all right? So, yes, this is way better. Of course it is, not just because it costs more, but because it's way more stable, and we need something stable. Not only, as I said, if it goes windy, you're safe with this one, you're not safe with this one. Let me tell you a samples that unfortunately, it tells you more about my personality. I was in Yellowstone, there was snow everywhere, and I wanted to take a picture of something. If I remember correctly, it was like an outdoor big clock. It was all froze up, and I said, I want to take that picture. But it was dark, and I wanted to take a long exposure picture. So I had something like this one, which it helped me a lot to travel from Orlando, where I live, to Yellowstone, because it wasn't weighty at all. I could put it in my backpack, and it didn't take any space. But when I sticked it in the snow, one of the leg bended so easily that at that point was unusable, and it was pretty much broken. I couldn't take the picture. So because I got mad really quickly, not a patient guy, I just throw it away because it wasn't worth it even to try to take the picture, because I could see that in the snow, it could bend, it could actually not sustain my camera. And that's when I thought that maybe investing some more money, making the money commitment, it will help me in the long term. I still have it. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit rusty, it's still working very properly and very well. Let me tell you something else. If you have a big camera, but overall a big and heavy and bright lens, which means more glasses in there, heavier, right? And you put it on the top of this, look, even if right now it's tight, I can still fold it right and left. So it's not safe. And the heavier the camera will be, the tougher will be for these tiny legs to sustain the whole weight. And if it's also windy, you are gone, you're done. The other tripod, yes, more expensive, more heavier, more space in my suitcase, luggage, or backpack, but I can guarantee you that I will bring the job back. So yes, $20 Walmart, very cheap, useful, but at some point, if you want to go deeper and getting a better picture, you will need something more sustainable, more safe, and something that can guarantee you the picture done, a long exposure done. Now, we spoke about the tripod, and before to recap, I want to talk about the monopod. What is the monopod? How can I work with just one leg? Now, the monopod, instead of being used for long exposure pictures, the monopod works to help you to carry a weight. I spoke in a different videos that you can see below about the 300, the 500, and even the 600, 800 lens. I'm talking about 12, 16 pounds lens. It is very heavy. When do I need to carry such a heavy lens? Well, I said that I'm a sport photographer, so during a sport event, the soccer player, the football player, the baseball player are not playing right in front of me. They're playing over there. I need to get closer to my subject with the lens, not definitely walking closer because I cannot step into the field, right? What about a tiger or the bald eagle right up there on the tree or behind the tree? I cannot get that close to the tiger, right? I need to get closer with my lens. Now, if I have to take just one picture, maybe I can carry the whole weight with me, but if I have to take a whole sport event, maybe a baseball game, 3 hours, or a football game, even 4 hours, I cannot carry 16 plus the camera pounds in my arms for such a long time. It's not because I'm not very a muscle guy, which I'm not, by the way, but it's because I cannot keep the focus in one point when I have such a heavy weight in my hands and my arms. So this one works that at the bottom of the lens, I can screw the lens over here. So I will have technically the weight all in my monopod. So what I will need is just the balance, which I will use my arms, my elbows, and my hands. I'm sorry about that. And so it's really, really, really useful. Now, the most common question that I had was, well, can I not use the same tripod that you just showed me to do that? Well, you cannot for that simply reason. We said that the monopod carry the weight, but you carry the balance. The tripod, it carries everything. You just need to look inside the camera that it's on the tripod and just click. On this one, you still have to carry the balance of both camera and monopod itself. Now, if I have a soccer player that is running to me or is changing direction so quickly, like the tiger or like sport or nature, I will have to follow the movements and I need to be quick. Now, if it's on the tripod, it's not that easy because I still have 3 legs, the tripod that I have to walk around to follow the soccer player or the tiger. If I have just one pod, it's way easier to make any kind of movement because on the ground I have just one leg to walk around and not 3 legs which I might be trip on it. So if we are talking about the shutter speed, like I need to move around, I need that my subject is moving around. Well, this one is more helpful because it means that I'm gonna use a long lens. It means that it's gonna carry the weight, but not the balance. If I need a long exposure, then I need that my camera does not move at all. So the tripod will carry the weight and the balance and everything, so nothing is moving. And at that point, we can go big, we can go safe, we can go definitely expensive, but I know for sure that even if it's windy, even if my camera it's heavy, it's gonna carry it and it's gonna give me my long exposure. If I have a big and heavy camera, but I try to use this one, it won't work. If I try to use this one in a windy or particular weather situation, it's not gonna work because it's too thin. It's not good at all. So I'm not here to tell you buy that one instead of this one. I was here just to let you know you can find a lot of different tripods in the market. I believe, as usual, that the best answer is what kind of photography do you want to do, what kind of picture you want to take, and where are you going. Again, if you are in a vacation, well, maybe this one is enough. Maybe you have the time to set up the camera, but if the camera is too heavy, you already feel that this is not going to be enough. Now, between this one and the $400 that I showed you before, we have a huge range of different tripods. They all fit what you need. If you need a tripod that goes 6 or even 7 feet tall, you need something expensive, you need something big, because the taller you go, the larger, thicker legs you will need to sustain the weight, because the taller you go, at some point, the more you need to carry the whole weight. So it's going to be bigger. Bigger means heavier. Heavier and bigger means more expensive. So, recap of the day, we spoke about the tripod, we spoke about the monopod. Monopod is useful when you have a subject that is moving a lot but is far away, so you need a big lens, which means heavy, and the monopod helps to carry the weight but not the balance. So you will still move around with it and you will carry it but not the weight. Tripod, it's when you need a long exposure and you need to put the camera on a flat surface that is not going to move at all. We have so many different kind of tripods, from the cheapest one to the most expensive one. Most expensive is definitely the safer one. Actually, the safest one, because you can put the heaviest camera and it doesn't make a move. You can move your head in all the positions. You have legs that sustain your weight, the weather like the wind, etc. This one probably won't. If you have a vacation, this one goes everywhere, suitcase, luggage, or even in your trolley or in your backpack. This one probably at some point you will have to carry it on your shoulder when you are walking in specific areas. So no matter what you buy, it's a commitment, not only money commitment, but also weight commitment. And at some point, it's all a commitment. But it's up to you, depending what kind of photography you want to take, what kind of picture you want to end up with. For today, it's all. We spoke about monopod and tripods. I wish you a wonderful day, and I hope to see you soon.